Leave it to Mom and Dad to bring all the.
Look at this. Look what I found last night, Richard. I was looking, I tore my whole house apart for a week.
Oh, no kidding, look at that. Look at that.
How
Where?
about that?
Yeah.
I could not find this sucker for 2 weeks. I was tearing every piece of
That is
my house
nice.
apart. Last night, I went, wait a minute. I had a couple glasses
We
of wine.
did
I was like,
cinders.
At the end of the play, he actually put that on. And she beat him up, and she beat him up.
What?
And
Oh my God.
let's see,
What?
she beat him up,
I can't believe you have that
she beat him
t-shirt.
up,
I
everybody
couldn't
beat him up.
find it for 2 weeks.
Wow.
I've been tearing my house apart. I knew I wouldn't have thrown it away.
I'm so sad I don't have mine.
Okay.
How do I
Does
do that?
anyone else have
you guys
this
see?
t-shirt?
What?
Tyson,
The camera's
that's you
in
at
the middle
bottom.
of the table, Rob, you can
Oh.
stay right there.
See
I just take direction.
People,
I
all
don't-
of you
Okay,
people.
now if you just speak,
Hello, I am here with my t-shirt, which I finally found last night at midnight.
There you are up there.
Took me a while. It was
11th
terrible.
Festival of Drama in English.
Basically, what I'm gonna ask you is, did anyone start off any of these shows by thinking you were going to Poland? Did you start at the beginning of the year knowing that you were going to Poland?
In the beginning of the year,
The
as
school
in
year?
the school
Yeah, the
year?
beginning of the school year, yeah, I mean, you came and you like went to auditions and so on and so forth, and,
You posted the opportunity
yeah.
and it became the hot topic.
You know, when I found out, it was actually less than 2 weeks before auditions,
Yeah.
so,
There was a mad rush. Everybody wanted to go to Poland. I mean, I remember how deep the auditioning pool was for girls. There were so many people in that callbacks room.
well, let's, are we already recording this? We're on? Okay. It's my belief that almost everything in life is a total accident, okay? For example, in 1990, I applied to the Fulbright people and was granted a Fulbright to go to England. And I actually had the opportunity to teach at Reading University, which is just up the road from London. And I thought I had actually got into heaven until our department decided that I couldn't have a sabbatical. So I couldn't leave the department without losing a whole year's pay. And weren't that well off at that particular point in time, so I said, I'm gonna try next year. Sandy Shotwell got the sabbatical, incidentally. She got to go to London to study at the Central School. And then the next year,
Dr. Harden came
I applied again, and that year I got the sabbatical. Unfortunately, I didn't get the Fulbright that year, so I had no reason to go to London, okay? And then, about, I think, the 4th of January, my phone rang, and it was somebody from the Fulbright people, and I turned to my wife and said, do you want to go to Poland? And she said, why not? Okay, which is a lot of, you understand why my marriage worked so well for me, at least. So what happened was this, then I discovered, one, that my grandfather was born there, and the great-grandfather that we never knew because he died before my grandfather was born, actually died in Gdansk, the city that I wound up teaching. And so I was told to people, my great-grandfather died here. I didn't tell them that he was in the Prussian army at the time. But it's all chance. It's really all chance. And then, hi, Paul. Glad to see you.
Oh my gosh.
I like the
Right.
look.
is your sound on?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yes.
There you are.
Okay.
Terrific.
I want to make one thing clear. I am not part of the Proud Boys because I got a patch. Just saying.
Okay,
Anyway,
we
yeah.
got this.
Hi, everybody.
Arr, Navy boy, how you doing?
At any
All
rate,
right.
at any rate, the spring of 1993, my wife and I, my wife Marilyn and I, performed in the Festival of Drama in English. And so I came back, and it didn't occur to me right away. It wasn't until the middle of November that I applied to Adam Ruszewski asking if we could go there. And we received the word on the 20th of December from Adam saying, yes, you can go, and we'll pay you to, the British Council will also pay you to do a workshop there. I think they paid me, but I don't think I ever did a workshop. So I'm feeling good about that. And that was December 20th, and then on the 5th of January, we started auditions. So what I'm saying is, who knew? Who knew? And then, when we were doing Stage Blood, you had one of my favorite lines of all time, which is, he's not dead. He's not dead. It's Stage Blood.
I'm glad you remember that. 'cause I
Okay.
don't.
She's got a book, so don't
I
let her
do.
laugh at you. At any rate,
You got it. I'm not responsible.
at any rate, we had no plans to go to Poland that year. When did it come up?
I thought that we auditioned in November and started rehearsals in January.
Well, we may have started no, I don't think so.
No? Because we
You,
auditioned.
you guys contacted me. It was Falling Skies that we did the play for.
Yeah,
For Stage Blood?
Yeah.
yeah, at the
We
Aardvark.
performed it at the Aardvark
Remember?
Theater.
Yeah, we did it at the Aardvark.
No, honestly, I was like, I was going through a divorce and I have grief brain. I
Oh,
don't
excuses,
remember
excuses.
much about Stage Blood at all.
Okay, you chalk it up to grief, I chalk it up to all the drugs and alcohol, but, I mean, for myself, I'm not speaking for you.
You are speaking for me.
Well, you know, the 90s were a different time.
It was a bit of debauchery, but now,
But tell me then, you remember? You guys remember apparently.
Yeah, I remember. So
Mark, do you
basically,
remember?
Chalks, do you remember? The aardvark?
It kind of showed up almost fully formed. I don't even know if there were auditions for Stage Blood.
I think you're
It
right.
just happened.
yeah, there were no auditions. I
Yeah, I think
definitely
we
did
were
not
just
audition
the
because I would
seven
never have
people
gotten
who
the part.
hung out together and, yeah.
We said, this is a cast, and you said, here is a play,
That's right.
and so that we put it together. I mean, that was.
Oh, yeah,
Wow.
okay,
I
yeah.
love that workshop thing.
We wanted to travel as a group of friends, and so we're like, we got this many people.
Well, I liked Charles Ludlam's work. I thought it was just hilarious. And the more time that we spent with it, the more it actually, I learned much more about Hamlet. I thought it was a terrific show. That character that Mark played became a better actor because he was searching for the killer of his father. And he got better and better in terms of the show. I also liked your hair. You remember what we did?
I don't know about that. Yeah, it was an interesting thing about Stage Blood in that, and it was an interesting thing to do in Poland at a theater in English, because on the one hand, we were doing this very funny Charles Ludlam play that had a lot of inside jokes and farce and camp and everything like that. But on the other hand, we were also doing Shakespeare.
Right.
But because we were this kind of cheap jack, rag and bone theater company, we were doing it kind of poorly. And then on top of that, once the plot of Hamlet started happening to the characters of Stage Blood, then we were really doing it. Like when Holly and I were doing the Queen's Closet scene, we weren't winking and schmacking and doing it overright. We were doing Act 3, Scene 4 of Hamlet. And all of those different layers were kind of a big responsibility for us when we were doing, because we were, making sure that all of those layers of Ludlum's language were conveyed to the audience for whom English was a second language. That was one of the biggest challenges of doing it in Gdansk.
Well, that's
Except that
amazing.
it wasn't, because we were all blown away by how the reception that we got. Like, we all thought it was gonna be hard because of the language barrier, but in fact, the reception in Gdansk, I remember, was like far beyond anything we had in the US.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still back to that question. At what point did Falling Skies decide to go to Poland? Because I wasn't in this discussion at all until they needed me. No, seriously, I mean, I didn't know anything about,
I think it was Wilton that kind of drove it. Wilton and possibly Lynn.
Lynn, yeah,
Wilton and Lynn, yeah.
those two.
and they, how did they approach you about it? Say, we're going?
Yeah, we want to do this again. Because it was such a great experience in '94.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was life-changing. Adam said to me at the closing party the first year, he said, we have opportunities to learn. And most of the time, these learning opportunities, and he did this on my shoulder, he said, they're tiny little steps. We learn incrementally. He said, but something like this, when you get a world community together and you get all of these different perspectives, he said, it's a leap. And that resonated with me. I mean, I just got chills. Because it was true. You know, you can study and you can be involved in projects in your own little hometown and, in the places where you're comfortable. You don't stretch. You don't grow as much, as rapidly as when you are completely outside your comfort zone and you're forced into a situation with a whole lot of people that you don't know their background, you don't know what the countryside looks like where they grew up, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, everybody is focused on the same goal. And I think it's pretty astonishing. I think he nailed that on the head. It was an opportunity for expansive growth very rapidly.
And that first year, that was the first year?
Yeah, that was after girls.
And you're talking about Adam Rushwowski?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I exchanged letters with him just last night.
How's he
Oh,
doing?
really?
He is very busy. I'm going to get him eventually to record how the play how the festival got moved from Warsaw to Gdansk, because he was responsible for that.
Nice.
Yeah, but he was headed off to Spain, and we'll get him, I mean, he's doing all right, I think, at any rate. I judge people essentially by their email addresses, and his is a university.
Me and Adam. Many, many moons ago.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So many moons ago.
And you were saying about his email address?
Well, it was a university email address.
Oh, I see.
So that's usually a sign. Heavens. Good night.
Here he is again. That's a crap
Oh, look
picture.
at that! Look at that! I see sucking up here. Wow, good.
Yeah, for sure. Although I didn't need to because it was over at that point. That was the closing night party. Actually, that was the closing night party in '95. Here's Sweet Chops.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my
Oh, yeah.
goodness.
Your hair's a little shorter.
A nice piece of meat.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Oh, and my dog chewed up the book that these photos were in, so that's what's missing there. But there's the whole crew.
Oh, cool.
Tar wreck.
Yeah, tar wreck. It was a wreck, right? Yeah, we had a dog that just was like, you know, I could eat this, and it did.
Like
Here you are again, sweet chops.
Oh, that's a really good, that's exactly how I remember Chuck's in.
Is
Was
there
that the guy
There's
who
dent in his
stole
nose.
Lynn's
Let's-
money?
Oh, is that the guy that stole Lynn's money?
Probably picking his
No.
pocket right there.
No, the gypsies happened later, and they were on the wharf, on the waterfront. This is downtown, old time days. And look, you don't have that dent in
Starting
the bridge of
the
your nose yet.
That was pre-broken nose.
Pre-broken nose, that was like,
Keep laughing, Sizemore. Keep laughing. I'll save that story for later. I've got,
The pictures that you sent began
oh, you've
with,
got the x-ray? Let me see it. Oh,
my
that's,
broken nose.
that was
Oh my
brutal.
god, that was the best.
1, 2, 3 broken nose pictures. There, you even had your X-ray in there.
Boom.
I will never
What
forget.
did the broken noses come from?
Okay.
Excuse my ignorance.
There was a little bar right around the corner from the place.
Oh,
It
I
was
know
across-
that place.
Yeah, and it was right around the corner from where we were staying. And so the first year we were there, it had just opened, and every time we went in, it was populated with old men drinking their vodka slowly. And so we sort of, as the festival, because it was between where we were staying at the hostel and the theater, so it was just like
Yeah, the
walking
one
across,
that-
yeah. So
It was right by the park.
yeah. So we went there frequently, and it was safe, and it was new, and it was, like I said, populated by old men drinking vodka slowly. 95, it had changed management. It was a really scary skinhead bar.
Okay.
And with like, you know, walls with psychedelic paint jobs and a rowdy crowd. And it was very busy, but you know, the theater crowd fit in all right, but Chops, being an unusual sort, wearing things like this,
Yeah, wearing
he
his.
didn't fit in.
Ooh,
He,
your hair's too nice, man.
He was also barefoot a lot of the time.
yeah, and he wore
I
bathrobes.
went up to the bar. I went up to the bar with Jonathan to order another can of City Edge. And there were these two skinheads sitting there. And this was also like half an hour after we did stage one. This
Right.
was the night of
So we were
We were-
kind of excited.
We were very excited.
I had. So I was wearing a bandana, the skinhead like pushed the bandana off of my head and saw that I had blonde hair, and he took me by the back of the head and he headbutted me, but he missed, and he hit me in the nose. So everybody involved with the festival just bailed out of, it was called the Cockney Pub, everybody left,
That's right, copy.
You know,
and
Chops,
I
because
went to the hospital.
you
to this-
walked up to the table and you stumbled, you put your hand on the back of a chair and you said, as your knees buckled, I think someone just hit me. And we were all like, I mean, it went from like having a good time to being a really, really bad time really, really fast. Because I could have put my pinky finger in that divot. It was astonishingly noticeable, and it was
Yeah.
brutal looking, and you were
Yeah.
checked out. You
Yeah.
weren't there anymore.
So what,
I had to,
Experiencing
I had to
local
catch her.
culture.
Huh?
Experiencing local culture.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Local-
You know, Marilyn and I went into that same
and-
bar.
Oh, wait.
like the hospital was kind of, I don't want to say this as a pejorative, but if you've seen the Chernobyl miniseries on HBO, it was kind of that kind of a hospital. And they took me in to have my nose x-rayed, and they laid me down on the x-ray table. And the radiologist came in carrying my chart, an ashtray, and a lit cigarette. So she put the ashtray down on the x-ray table right next to my head and started talking to me about what happened while she was smoking. And at the time I was a smoker, and so I said, "May I?" And she said, "Oh, so so the two of us were smoking in a hospital, in the radiology department of a hospital. She said, "Okay, we're gonna take an x-ray, don't move. So I held in a drag of a cigarette, like in this x-ray, I'm holding a drag of a cigarette. And she said, yeah, your nose is broken. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take you to the operating room. They're gonna put you under, they're gonna break your nose to reset your nose, and they're gonna put some splints up there, suture them in, and then when you get back to the US, you know, you can have them taken out. And I said to Eva, who was the friend of mine who took me there, I said, you know what, my nose doesn't hurt. I mean, to be fair, I had a head full of beer and everything else, but it didn't hurt, it wasn't bleeding, I could breathe, and I didn't have black eyes, it didn't look really that cocked up.
It
And so I
did.
said, if
Sorry,
one more
honey.
weird thing happens,
But you already performed.
Okay, at least I
Yeah,
didn't
it was
have the
that
black
night.
eyes.
Okay. Yeah, it looked bad. It looked really bad.
mm.
Most
If
people
I see
don't
one
run
more
around.
thing that leaves me unsettled,
You could hang your hat on it.
Yeah.
and right before they were gonna take me in to put me under and operate on me, we saw two men in bloody scrubs run into the operating room carrying a 10-foot ladder. So I just said, no, I'll get this dealt with back in Utah. And like 20 minutes later, we were back at the hotel bar having another pint.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare.
So,
The show must go on.
well, and it was Richard who took the fall the first year.
Yes, I did.
Oh, is that the picture with the,
Yeah,
the
with the,
eye?
with the patch over the eye.
Yeah, I saw that.
So,
Well,
you know, Vinegar Tom, y'all are lucky that you ended up with no facial injuries in the cast.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes, I came and I actually had 1,000 zloty note, which was worth about 4 cents. And I used it as, I asked the question, who has the best explanation as to what happened to my eye? And the winner got the 1,000 zloty note. I can't remember who it was, but it's, I hope that they
Framed
put
it.
it up on the wall somewhere.
I would have, I didn't win.
No, I can't remember, you probably knew the truth.
I did, because, I think Lynn was the one who found you. Didn't he peel you off the floor?
Yeah, actually, I was sharing a room with Tyson.
We had a nice, quiet time when we were.
We did a lot of drinking and partying, but yeah, there was no major catastrophes. Yeah.
No, what happened was, all day long, I was visiting friends of mine in Poland, and I kept thinking, sooner or later, somebody's going to feed me. And no one did. And I got up in the middle of the night and wandered into the bathroom, which had this rock floor on it. And I just passed out. And I woke up on the floor, and it turned out, speaking what Mark said about the medical services available, it turned out that it was actually broken. This
orbital socket?
yeah, the socket was actually cracked, and I didn't find out until I got home. I didn't find out actually until about a year later when I had an X-ray, and they said, "So when did you break
I
that?"
look a little drunk and
There wasn't.
Oh, there we are.
with our cat.
This is, if I can get back to the plays for a moment. Not too long, but when we did Girls, we made a lot of changes. We made a lot of additions, because all I can remember about it was that the show ran only 60 minutes, and we had, I think, 108 light changes.
Yeah.
So were you the same group that did both of those, Stage Blood
Jesus.
and Girls?
No,
You were,
Lynn and I were there for both shows.
Okay.
And I think
Annie,
Annie was there and
I was
Andalone
there
and
for Girls.
Tyson.
yeah, and Tyson, who is
still
not
here?
with us anymore. So, yeah, that was a crazy show in some ways. Marilyn had actually done an interview with Schieffer Campbell in 1993 and played it on KRCL radio. And I couldn't get the play out of my head, but there were things going on in it that I never could quite figure out. So I just put stuff in.
Well, the script was so episodic, so very instantaneous. I mean, some of the light changes
Yeah, it
were
felt-
like one word and a down, up and down, up and down. It was, honestly, I think Glenn had the hardest job in that play, the light designer.
Yeah,
And he was running the booth, and he had to learn the booth at the theater well enough to be able to do those 108 lighting changes for a 60-minute show.
sure.
Christ,
It was crazy.
Sounds like a nightmare.
But I
You
mean,
would give
honestly,
it like one phrase. For example, Lynn and Tyson were
Right.
building this artwork in back. And the entire scene was simply, all right, all right.
Yep,
And that was the script.
right.
So it didn't say to build the thing there, but we had to have some reason for them to be there.
All right, mate? All right.
Well, and I think you did a brilliant job, because when I read the script, I was like, what the?
This better be a good trip to Poland, is all I can say.
Who chose it?
Dr. Shrine, it was part of the festival that you saw there before, wasn't it?
I did.
It was brought by
Northern
Schiffer
Ireland.
Campbell,
Schiffer Campbell.
the
And
playwright.
It was called Scarecrow Theater. And by the time I contacted her to get the rights, Scarecrow Theater was already gone.
Yeah,
But she did let me have the rights,
yeah.
and so on and
Well,
so
I thought that the way that you built it, I mean, because the script didn't specify any of the things that actually happened in the play.
Mhm.
It was just the words, there were no stage directions.
Wow.
And so Richard came up with a concept that it was the three, oh gosh, what do you pronounce?
Three fates.
Three fates, the
Yeah,
fates.
they were
So,
all
Gaelic,
Gaelic.
Mother Crone. And so that was the tableau at the end of the show. But, you know,
With you and Annie
and Anne.
and Ann.
And that was when Tyson was like, dead. Conrad?
And we never found Anne?
No.
I was able to find her sister, and actually she was on a couple of people's Facebook, but I went on their Facebook and I checked, and there were no pictures after 2012, and her sister said, well, she doesn't do much with social media anymore. And she looked great, you
Yeah.
know, but
No surprise.
Right. she
I was never
studying.
able to get in contact.
Yeah.
I don't even know where she is,
That's sad.
which is too bad.
Yeah.
She came from Westminster, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I
I
remember.
think that's right.
Actually,
Yeah.
I remember Annie and Lynn were in a Fugard play when we were doing this casting. Do you remember?
I
Yes.
Hmm?
It was directed by Roger Bennington, right?
Yes. Yes.
Hello and Goodbye. was the name.
Wasn't
Yeah.
that it?
I think it was Hello and Goodbye.
Yeah.
Yep. And, yeah, we had South African accents for that show, and then Irish accents for this show, for Curls.
Sort of.
Yeah, we were brother and sister.
Listening back, I'm like, I thought we were doing a great job, but damn.
Yeah, right?
You have a tape of
We
it?
could
You have
never
a tape of the
quite-
show?
Yes.
There's,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Richard sent it out at the beginning of the process of making this
We
happen.
did. I got to see
yeah.
it for the first time. I got to see it, and it was great.
It's an
It's-
attachment, you get to watch.
It's actually two shows, two performances filmed back to back, So it runs for 2 hours. And Lynn said to me, before I had a chance to watch it, he said, I just watched it twice. I was like, well, that seems excessive. And then, because it was a performance and then a different performance, I did the same thing. And the second performance is better. Go
That'd be-
halfway through.
That'd be really interesting.
The second one's
I
better.
agree.
Back to back like that.
How
It
fun.
was. It was really interesting because there were a couple of glitches in the first run through. I mean, it's just really funny how you remember, oh, look, Lynn didn't strike that set piece he was supposed to. And there were better lighting cues, I think, in the second go through, but it was just like, wow.
Shauna, do you actually like remember rehearsals?
I do.
I have no memory of any of it.
I remember it vividly because we started down at the across the street. I'm having so many brain cramps
Well,
today.
The
show.
Institute?
Yes, the Institute.
Yeah.
So we
Oh,
started
yeah.
rehearsing there,
I do remember
and
that.
honestly,
Everybody here knows that, the West Institute.
yeah. And so I was married to Richard at the time, not this Richard, a different Richard, and Lynn was engaged to Monica Mensch. And we were cast as husband and wife. And so the intimacy barrier was broken very quickly during blocking. We had to touch and hug and caress each other like we were married. And so it's like my trust barriers broke down really fast. And I got to know Lynn very quickly, but it's like we had a lot of time. Your stage was, you were stage right and we were stage left. So Bronye's house was stage left and Maven Dearman's house was stage right. And so when you guys were blocking scenes, because we crossed over some, but it wasn't, you know, a lot. And Lynn and I would hide in the back, and once we were in the black box, there were curtains, and we would just like put our little heads together, and he would talk about Monica, and I would talk about Richard, and so we were like just becoming friends as married people, until we got to Poland. I want to say, for the record, we were very good. We were not naughty at all in Poland, but
Considering he was beating you up all the time
I
on
know,
stage.
I know. But we
No,
got
I have
home.
memories of you, Lynn, in Poland, because I was your roommate.
I remember that.
Ooh.
Well, there was like,
Now we're down to the nitty gritty.
I remember actually, we were roommates because Annie and Lisa were the non-smokers in the group. And so
That
they
didn't
shared a
last
room.
long.
Huh?
That did not last long for me
Oh,
in life. I think Mark could attest to that. Yep.
no, I'm sorry, I said Annie, I meant Anne. Anne and Lisa
Okay.
were the non-smokers, so they roomed together. And the rest of us like clouded up the rooms we were in. I think Glenn was the one who had to suffer with a smoking roommate, but
Everybody
as
smokes
a
there.
non-smoker, right? It was a different time. I mean, I told, man, I'm twice as old, more than twice as old as I was when we did that.
Thanks.
That's a good note for me to jump in with here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to bail out because yesterday I had that surgery on the eye, and I am not supposed to have my head up. And so I've got, except for maybe 5 minutes out of every hour.
Take him
And so
out.
I've got to.
I got a quick Paul story. I got a quick Paul story.
But I quick wanted to say it was so good to see Teresa and Karen and Rob and, you know, all you guys here. I wish I could make it over to dinner. If I go to sleep now and have my head down, I might be able to get up, but you might see the top of my head more there. But anyway, thanks for coming, and I could tell lots of stories myself, wish I could.
You watch the video, because I'm gonna tell some Paul stories when you're off.
I've got a few
Yeah, maybe I'll get
myself.
that.
We haven't gotten to the near top.
No, we haven't got there. And oh, good, yeah, Karen, I can get stories about you.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
And
Bye, Mom.
thank you for having me up to your
You're
house.
lucky.
Thank you for having me up to your house for a concert a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah, thanks for coming all that way and all. It was
You're
in
welcome.
my salon.
Y'all have a good one, Teresa. Very nice to see you again.
Good to
I
see you, Paul.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Feel better, baby.
Yeah, heal up. We need your music.
I could use the beard. It's true.
Oh, that's fantastic. It really is. Talk about drama.
Yeah, he's always had a good beard.
Yeah, always a good beard. I actually had a thought when we were talking about injuries and no injuries with Vinegar Tom, but Richard, you got very angry at me before we left for Poland because I was rollerblading and I had a really bad crash, and I'm lucky I'm alive. And
You were
alive.
hit by a car.
Well, no.
No?
A car saw the accident and was like, should we take you to the ER? And I was like, can you just take me to my apartment because I have to get to rehearsal? And I just showed up like bloody and bruised, and we were like leaving for Poland in another week or two. We were doing run-throughs, and you're like, you're in the show, and you choreographed the show, and all these people are depending, and there's all this money, and I was like, it was a good lesson for me.
Tom brought you in. Did, Tom, I can't remember his last name.
Oh, Cook.
Cook, Tom Cook.
Tom Cook, that was a different accident. That was earlier in the year. I did get hit by a car.
You live
I flipped
dangerously.
up over the roof of a car.
She's a biker, man.
Yeah.
No, she was
Dangerously, I tell you.
on roller skates, right?
Yeah, the second accident right before we went to Poland, I was on rollerblades.
Rollerblades.
And in those days, there was no helmets. There was,
No,
there
of
was
course
just
not.
speed.
Just short shorts.
Short shorts, and athletic bra, my Walkman. Yeah. So yeah, I got in trouble. You got in trouble. You got mad at me. And so that was the accident. And I remember, because we did so much dancing, and I had a big dance solo with all the stretching. And every time I moved, I was just ripping open scabs. Yeah.
Oh, terrible.
But I'll never forget the verbal talking to you gave me, and you know, as a young person, I needed someone to say, hey, can you think about
What you do.
like maybe 2 weeks ahead of where you're at right now?
You were 23 years old.
Wow.
I remember that much. Because I thought, I'd have to put it in the obit.
Ooh.
Ben Ostenberger wrecking his motorcycle when he was the quarterback for Pittsburgh, He was about that age too. Ran the motorcycle for it, dumbass.
I keep showing up. I keep surviving.
You made it.
That's right.
Things.
I seem to remember Sweet Chops performing Stage Blood in a cast.
In a cast?
Oh, yeah, I had a,
Was that the ankle?
none of us made good decisions back then. Like a few months before Stage Blood, I got drunk, locked myself out of my second floor apartment, tried to climb up along a rain gutter. Of course it fell off, and I shattered like my thumb and my elbow, and I was in a cast for like 6 weeks, or 6 months. And so when we did Stage Blood, I had a broken arm, and I like spray painted it black. I think I've got a photo of it. I might be able to share it. Yeah, I spray painted it black because Hamlet. And yeah, I did the whole that whole show with a broken arm.
You also had a black wig
And
because Hamlet was supposed to be blonde.
I did.
Yeah, and Charles Ludlam, who played it originally, was bald. So we had to give you a black wig, which you then took off to play Hamlet. Yeah.
It was perfect Charles Ludlam.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of this weird play on drag and everything. It looked ridiculous when I had this black wig on, and it felt kind of cool when I had my own hair.
And I remember the running joke during that time was that Sweet Chops had played Hamlet many times, not in the play Hamlet.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, I played
do you remember
Hamlet 5 times,
do you remember the To Be or Not to Be
but I've
line?
never been in the play Hamlet.
Do you remember the To Be or Not to Be
To be or
line?
not to be, that is the question, whether it is nowhere in the mind to suffer this.
Oh, you
Yeah,
did it
I
backwards.
still do To Be or Not to Be the entire bit.
Yeah, you did
What?
it all backwards, and then you got out there and did To Be, and then everybody in the cast or not to be. I remember that, yeah.
That was funny.
I
Can
remember,
I interject real quick?
sure.
It's a different play, but speaking about Mark's copious injuries, didn't you also break your leg on Orestes?
Oh, Jesus. That's right, we got like half the cast of Orestes here right now.
That's right, I was in it.
So they call it a
Shayla
class.
and Sarin and Dr. Shireen.
Yes, I was in it.
Yeah, like literally 30 seconds into our very first performance of Orestes, I like tore all the ligaments in my ankle. Because we were doing it at some place in Arches National Park.
Yes.
And like I was lying down on the Red Rock at the beginning of the show, and sweet Noe McKenna, I can't remember her married name, but Noe came up and like woke me up and said, Orestes, go do something, because the name of this play is
She was playing your
Orestes.
sister.
And so I got up and took 3 steps and rolled my ankle on some part of the Red Rock. And it was the very first performance. And so that entire run of the show, I had a completely cocked up ankle. I don't make good decisions.
Well, we all knew that when we all got into theater, right?
Maybe, indeed.
I have a story.
Yeah.
Actually, a couple, but.
Okay.
But, first you asked about, did you know you were going to Poland? and
Yes.
everything. I either flew or drove in. I think it was, I was flying in for some reason, back to Salt Lake from back east, Philadelphia, area where I'd been teaching, and I was coming back to do another degree.
You also had a
And
lawsuit.
guess who was giving me a ride? And at that point, he was explaining that the university's Greek play was doing the Bacchae. So he had no women left in the department. And suddenly I was coming to an audition and I was invited and everything. By the time I even debarked to get ready to get my other degree and or to move there, I was suddenly, sort of coerced into an audition. And thanks to Paul and all, it must have gone okay. I must
It
not
did
have
go
wrecked
over.
it
It
anyway.
did.
So I ended up.
I knew you'd be terrific in it, okay? So I kept helping you move things in so that
Yeah, I got
you would
free
owe
moving.
me.
That's brilliant.
I got free moving. I loved it. It was worth it. Anyway, the other story, talking about mishaps in Poland. There was, so I had switched rooms because I got a little bit perturbed when I saw the rat poison in the room I was assigned and all. I was going on my Western European experience and I walked in and I said, oh, this is a different world.
Yeah,
So
don't drink the water.
I walked there. So the rooms got switched. Well, during the night, and you'll remember this story
Yes,
very
I
well.
do.
During the night, I'm already panicked because I've just moved, I'm sleep deprived, I was jet lagged, I was older in the cast, I wasn't getting jet lagged as well. And I'm worried because they put us on last and I'm scared to death of singing my solos that Paul assigned me. So I'm like, I'm a dancer, I'm not a singer, I'm a dancer, I'm singing. So all these things going through my mind, and I just start to settle down, and I start hearing all these deep male voices start singing, and drunken voices, and banging on my wall, and all of this raucous stuff going. And you could hear it down the paper walls, down the hall, everything, all of this, and I start beating on the wall. Don't have the language, I'll do the universal sound. Beating on the wall and everything, and it'll stop for a minute, and then start singing these dirge-like songs and that, and all of that, and the loud yelling and everything. And then this guy shows up at my door. He can hardly stand in his feet, and it somehow lets me know it's his friend's birthday. And so they're celebrating.
That makes
all
it
night.
okay.
So they go back, and I'm trying to say, I just need to sleep, please. And then it starts up again and it's banging, so I start beating on the wall and yelling American profanity on the wall. Next thing I hear a knock at the door, I go storming over there and it's Dr. Shrine. And of course, Richard's standing there and he says, why don't you go down and sleep with Marilyn in my room and I'll stay here, I'm half deaf.
Oh, he joined the damn party.
Yeah, he really
He tried to
So I finally did get a little bit of sleep that night, and Marilyn and I had a good laugh.
You know, I have another story in relation to that, and that is because of this whole thing, Tommy St. Cyr
Yes.
came down the thing, and she went in that door, and
She told him off.
you said you use profanities. She, and then quiet. They got quiet.
I don't know, I was not
She
as
had some
fearsome
power.
as Tommy.
Little Jedi power there, yeah.
Yeah.
That New Orleans power,